You're watching the Western Athletic Conference on ESPN. Time to put a bow on the regular season on this Thursday night as we open the month of March. A good women's matchup in Moody Coliseum to close the regular season. Seattle U and Abilene Christian. Here's the standings coming in the final Thursday of the regular season. We'll know the bracket after tonight. Abilene Christian has won 2 straight to get to 8-9. Seattle U coming off of a defeat, sitting down there at 5-12. The tournament starts next Monday. As we say welcome courtside, everybody, Zach Carlisle with Joseph Chapa, Kerry Johnston coming up as well. We're here. We've reached the finish line. It's our final tune-up before the tournament starts next week.
That's exactly what this game is, Zach. The seedings already are cemented, but now before you go to WAC Vegas, you're going to play some games back-to-back, depending on what seeding you are. You have to know, okay, what is this team that's going to go into WAC Vegas?
I can't wait to watch it as we get ready to go for the first meeting of the year between these two. Peyton Howard, our impact player, struggled Tuesday. Aspen Thornton had a great game Tuesday night.
Zach, these are 2 really good scorers, and for Peyton Howard, she's a high-volume scorer, but when she's efficient, she can be really good for her Seattle U ball club and Aspen Thornton. I mean, what a year, what a pickup she's been for ACU. If she can have a good game here, as she had the past 3 to 5 games, that's going to carry on to WAC Vegas for these Wildcats.
It is the final game in Moody Coliseum for ACU basketball. Let's talk about a Wildcat veteran, Maddie Miller.
Thanks, guys. At the end of the season, some people begin to evaluate the upperclassmen's impact. One of the biggest examples for ACU is the legacy of Maddie Miller. In her 5 years here at ACU, she has the most career games played for ACU at the Division I level, while she also reached the 1,000-point career mark earlier this season. She's also nearing 500 career rebounds and 200 career three-pointers made, and she was also part of the first roster that ACU took to the NCAA Division I tournament. What a legacy for a great player that will hopefully continue through the WAC tournament. Guys, back to you.
All right, fans, on your feet. It's time.
Harry, thank you very much. The house that Maddie built, maybe, here at Moody Coliseum. Glad you're with us. Off we go with an unconventional start as it's tapped out of bounds. It will go to Seattle U. How about the Red Hawk starting 5? It's come into form here lately with Walker, Howard. You got Clark and Moore as well. Korolenko, the junior forward inside as well for the Red Hawks. That is a turnover. Little miscommunication trying to get it to Clark. Abilene Christian, their starting 5 has settled in as well. Thornton and Earl with Langstaff, Miller, the veterans, Martin, the redshirt freshman at the post position. Abilene Christian technically for the first time will have it. It's Maddie Miller, number 31, in her 43rd and final game at Moody Coliseum. Aspen Thornton, no. The first possession for ACU, they get it back onto Steele, and Martin's fouled, and a lot's happened here in the first couple of minutes.
Well, Zach, you want to come out with the right energy, and you know, again, this is the final tune-up for both of these teams, but you know, for ACU, Maddie Miller, last game here in Moody, you might be thinking, hey, it's the last one, you want to go all out, right? You see all the NBA, WNBA, college stars playing in their last game in their home facility, and they usually have a career night, but it feeds the team, and already Addison Martin drawing that foul, and her first trip to the free throw line here tonight.
First points of the ball game. Abilene Christian off of a road win at Sam Houston on Tuesday. They won 2 straight, including an upset over the top team in the Pure WAC standing Southern Utah last Thursday night. It's been a nice end of the season for these Abilene Christian Wildcats.
And perfect timing to hit that midseason stride, too, before WAC Vegas.
It's a 3. It is Walker. It's no good. And Miller clears with the rebound. Meanwhile, Seattle U coming off of a road loss Tuesday at Tarleton as a part of their Texas trip to close out the regular season. That was following a win against Utah Valley last week. Ball tapped out of bounds. It'll stay at this end. kind of this final tune-up. You know, we talked about that. It's just getting ready for what next week will bring. It's a quick turnaround because everybody will play Monday in that first round of the WAC tournament in Las Vegas, and you got to get there over the weekend. So a lot of teams will get ready on Friday and head to Vegas Friday and Saturday to get ready for the most important week of the year.
Exactly. I mean, this is a perfect time if you're a coach getting ready for that conference tournament to finalize your lineups, finalize your playbook, and test out all the new stuff that you want to experiment with.
Miller going to launch a three. It's no good. We don't have a field goal made just yet in the first minute and a half. Thornton will kick it. Fresh 20. That's now to 13. Bella Earl, her three, offline. Rebound hauled in. Kari Churchabo, the sophomore out of Norway, checking in into the game, number 14 in the black uniform. Howard, who struggled Tuesday at Tarleton, has this one denied out of bounds. And you talked about her as our impact player. They need number 11 to go to be successful this Seattle U.
That's absolutely right, Zach. And it's not just on the ball off the dribble there. You're going up against Addison Martin, who with that wingspan and length is just hard to score against. She needs to be creative, some shots off of the ball, run some plays with, and get Peyton Howard going.
Try to get it inside to Korolenko. Making her 10th straight start. This is Clark for three, no good. You got a Seattle U team that only shoots it about 30%, a touch less than from three. Not their strength. They do defend the three well. And Abilene Christian, a team that loves to take them, that's a fun matchup to look for tonight. Just 2-0 on a couple of free throws. That's all we've seen. Abilene Christian in front, 7.5 to go in the first, and a travel on Martin. A slow offensive start for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, you know, for both of these teams, for ACU, just you want to get your shot in rhythm, especially before the tournament. You're going to be playing at a neutral site. You want to get used to the acoustics of the rim and get your rhythm and your form right. For Seattle, you just got to get some of those shots and touches going for a player like Peyton Howard.
Howard's open at the top of the key, and the three's offline, and out of bounds it will go to Abilene Christian. 7:13 to go in the first. And on the Seattle U sideline, seventh-year head coach Susie Barkham. 26th year as a head coach, over 400 victories in her time. Abilene Christian backdoor. Earl, did she travel with it? Yeah, she did. That's a walk and a turnover for Abilene Christian. They lead at 2-0 with 7 minutes to go here in this first quarter.
Yeah, Bella Earl had the right idea there. Catching it, trying to pump fake, get two on the air, but she's got to plant your feet first.
We're 3 minutes in. We're still waiting for the game's first field goal. 2 free throws is it for ACU. That's the scoring. On to drive. No good for Howard. 1 for 7 Tuesday in the loss at Tarleton. Malia Langstaff had it deflected out of bounds, and it's off of Langstaff and a turnover.
And, you know, during the shoot-around, the warm-ups, and, you know, even before this game with the lineups and just everything going, it seems like, you know, ACU is very excited. The energy was there, but you also don't want to be too excited out there on the court because then things start happening like they normally don't, and careless turnovers and travel calls, and so ACU's got to get back into their rhythm.
Esther Blauenfelt into the game. She will feed it on the inside, and Korolenko has the game's first field goal. First points for Seattle U out of the 2-2 game at the 6.5 mark of the first. It's Miller. She is bumped. And we have a foul. Already the third team foul of the quarter on Seattle U. And that one goes on Talia Clark.
And if you're Seattle U, you recognize that ACU is not beating you in the half court. They're just drawing fouls. You limit the fouls, force them to beat you in the half court, and see what they got.
Little fadeaway. Turning around, and Aspen Thornton, who's coming off of a 17-point performance on Tuesday night in the win at Sam Houston. 4-2 Abilene Christian, their first field goal of the game, as we're under 6 to play in the first quarter. Backdoor and too high and out of bounds. Boy, is this a low-scoring start. Let's go back to Thornton's basket for ACU.
Yeah, and again, the pickup for ACU, Aspen Thornton, a player who can make difficult contested shots. You can't teach that to any basketball player. It's just something that they're born with, and Aspen Thornton she's born with it, and she's showing it here as a Wildcat.
On the drive, and right at the shot clock buzzer, it's a travel first and a turnover for the Red Hawks.
And again, just trying to draw fouls late in the shot clock, early in those contested help defenders inside down low, but Seattle U just gotta get something going. Again, running some plays off ball for Peyton Howard.
5.5-minute mark of quarter number 1. Abilene Christian in front 4-2. Lonfeld inside, and there is Martin working hard and converting it to make it a 6-2 ACU lead. Sheridan Liggett into the game. And now Howard trying to get something going, and she will draw a foul. Miller defending. The foul's on number 31 for Abilene Christian. 5:03 first quarter, 6-2 ACU in front. I just didn't quite expect it to be this low scoring so far. We're 5 minutes in. We got 8 total points on the board. Lauenfeld feeds it. Korolenko will take a 3. That's no good. Halfway through this first quarter. Here is Claire Graham on the move. It's stolen away. Howard's got it up ahead in transition. Her layup's no good. Rebound to Leggett, and the jump ball will take us to a timeout. 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Abilene Christian in front of Seattle U, 6-2.
Get ready for an entire week in WAC Vegas. More teams, more games. The 2023 Hercules Tires WAC Basketball Tournament. March 6th through the 11th. At the Michelob Ultra Arena and the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. For ticket information, go to wacsports.com.
The world needs more light bringers and courageous leaders who inspire us, game changers and risk takers who never play small, creative thinkers and God seekers who uplift us. You see, the future is ours to create. We hold it in our hearts. We mold it with our hands. We light the fire within.
Time now for our keys to the game, brought to you by your Greater Texas Ford dealers.
Well, Zach, my man, let's start with the road team, Seattle U. Set the tone early. Not doing it right now, but you gotta get your half-court action going. Look for Peyton Howard to be involved in that. Crash the glass. ACU's weakness all season long. Coach Goodenough and her staff has said it is rebounding. ACU's got to be a rebounding team. Seattle U has got to attack that weakness. Guard big. ACU, again, interior defense down low. You gotta stay vertical. You gotta protect the paint. Seattle U is known to have some slashers. And last but not least, it's the Maddie Miller Show. Might be Maddie Coliseum. This is the house that Maddie Miller built her last game here in Moody Coliseum. Look for her to have a show.
Addison Martin inside. That is no good. Tapped around and the rebound hauled in by Lisa Mikkelsen. Into the game, the freshman out of Denmark. As we approach the 4-minute mark of this opening quarter, Abilene Christian in front of Seattle U, 6-2. Here come the Red Hawks inside. They go, and off the glass, Korolenko for a basket to make it a 6-4 game.
And that's just, again, how to beat a 2-3, 3-2, 1-3-1 zone. Get into the middle of the paint, the free throw line, and you're at the defense's mercy.
Claire Graham will drive, and it's an offensive foul. They get the push off on Graham, and Abilene Christian turns it over, and we have had a very defensive start to this game. 6-4, ACU with 3:42 to go in the first.
These different type of coverages that you're facing if you're ACU. We talk about this as the final tune-up before going to the WAC tournament. Hey, doesn't mean you got to score 70, 80, or 90, or 100. You might just want to get into that low range and be physical.
Blauenfelt, the freshman out of Denmark, on a drive and a foul. It's on Abilene Christian. And they're going to get it on Martin in the paint. Let's talk about the shooting. Seattle U from the field 2 for 9 so far. Abilene Christian 2 for 7 from the floor, and we've seen a combined 8 turnovers. First free throw is good for Esta Blauenfelt. Coming off the bench, had been scoreless in each of her last 6 games until tonight to make it a 6-6 contest. And that'll be Aspen Thornton for a 3 at this end, no good. ACU with the offensive rebound. We're 7 minutes into this first quarter. It is a Graham 3, no good. Neither side could buy a bucket. 6-6 our score. Sheridan Liggett, the freshman out of Utah. Number 15 out there. Now this is Howard on a drive. No good. Well, she's missed a couple there inside. Mikkelsen, no good. Third chance for Seattle U. And Mikkelsen takes advantage to put the Red Hawks in front 8-6.
Third time's a charm. Again, Peyton Howard, Mikkelsen, really good looks, but she was able to solidify and get that layup.
ACU goes inside. It is a travel on Martin. Boy, the turnovers adding up. Abilene Christian, their 6th turnover of the first quarter, and Seattle U's on a 6-0 run.
And noticing Addison Martin's body language there after her second travel call. And again, as a player, you're like, okay, maybe you didn't do anything wrong, but I think if you're Martin, who's a really good post player, averaging double digits for ACU, one of the key players heading into WAC Vegas, you got to slow the game down a little bit and be a good leader for your team.
At 3, no good. Offline from Korolenko, but a second chance. Offensive rebound, number 5 for Seattle U in the first quarter. Korolenko for 3. Oh, it rattled out. No good. It's tapped around. It'll stay with the Red Hawks with 2:02 to play in the first.
Again, crashing the glass, and that doesn't just mean defensively, but also offensively. You get to create more possessions for yourself. Already 3 for 13 for Seattle U, 2 for 9. 3 for 14, should I add, 2 for 9 for ACU.
Martin taps that out of bounds on that inbound play. 2 minutes even to go in the first quarter. 8-6, Seattle U in front of ACU. First and only meeting. And it took till the final day of the season for these two to get together. Foul on Abilene Christian's Bella Earl. They did play last year once in the regular season as well. It's the only other meeting between these two schools. Seattle U won 75-61 last January in Seattle, 2022. Right side, it's Blauenfelt, the 3, not close. Out of bounds it goes, 1:50 in the first, 8-6 Seattle U. It's good defense, but the shots just aren't falling either for either side. Thornton spinning, turning, scoring.
And it's funny because those open looks, those quality shots aren't going in, and not saying that the shot that Thornton took wasn't quality. When you're a player like her, you have the green light for anything, but the difficult contested shots that Thornton's able to make is making a difference here for the Wildcats.
The drive and kick, Blauenfeld. In a tie game at 8, 1:15 in the first. Inside, Mikkelsen lost it. Abilene Christian a chance to maybe run. Not much for numbers. And Earl throws it to the bench looking for Langstaff. 1:05 in the first quarter. Clark returns for Seattle U.
And I think what's going to help ACU is, and I think we've noticed this here in the first quarter, is that their pick and roll defense has been excellent. I mean, again, just showing on the ball screens, whether they're switching on everything, on those off-ball screens. If ACU can feed off of that and create defense and offense while they figure out their half-court offense, they'll be in way better shape. And for Seattle U, you just got to get back to the glass, create those second chance opportunities, and put ACU at your mercy.
A drive and a travel on the Redhawks as they turn it over.
Already 4 travel calls here, and just something you don't see often. It's odd, but you look at the timing of it. We're in March, and these teams are ready for the conference tournament. So it's like, okay, you're just trying to tune things up. You're just trying to solidify things, get your body right. That's probably what these two teams have in mind.
Miller on a drive, and that's a blocking foul.
Foul's called on the Redhawks, number 15, Sheridan Liggett. That is her first foul, team 4th foul.
So Miller, there it is, and she will shoot free throws. Grabbed her ankle a little bit there at the end.
Yeah, that's a tough collision, and again, just using Maddie Miller as an option off the ball. And I mean, what is there not to say about her, Zach? I mean, just an excellent player, having a career year as her last year, and what a time to do it, to come back here at ACU and lead the youngest team that she's ever been a part of here in the purple and white.
Maddie Miller, what a career at Abilene Christian, was a member of that 2019 NCAA tournament team for ACU. That was her freshman year. 146 games later, the super fifth-year senior, 1,100 career points. As Carrie highlighted in the open, upwards of 500 rebounds coming up as well. Again, her 43rd and final game at Moody Coliseum, played in Moody 3 of her 5 years at ACU. That ball is inside, and it's going to go down as a turnover for the Redhawks.
Just a very odd game. Already the 5th travel call. And I mean, you know, when I play pickup, I mean, I travel a lot. Of course, I don't call it. But, I mean, these players, these teams, they shouldn't travel a lot. Again, just trying to ease back into things and maybe just taking it lackadaisical, because you know what the tournament looks like, demanding your bodies out there in Vegas.
5 seconds for Martin. She'll go left. She will be no good. Earl rebounds, and that's no good, and that takes us to the end of the first quarter. Very low scoring. It's Abilene Christian 10 and Seattle U 8. It's the end of the first quarter. WAC Hoops on ESPN continues after these messages. Start of the second quarter in Abilene, Texas. It's ACU 10, Seattle U 8. A chance for the Wildcats to have some momentum going into WAC Vegas. More on that. Here's Carrie.
Ever since ACU made the switch from the Southland Conference to the WAC, the team has had its ups and downs. While in the WAC, ACU has only had one 3-game winning streak at the beginning of the process last season. With a win tonight, ACU could have their second ever 3-game win streak during WAC play. The Cats are getting hot as the perfect time for the Wildcats, with the WAC tournament just around the corner. Guys, back to you.
Carrie, thank you. And how about Maddie Miller hitting a 3? As already we've seen more offense, it feels like, in the second quarter than we did in the first quarter. 13-8 ACU, just 18 total points in that opening quarter tonight. But Miller off to a good start with a 3, and ACU's got it again.
Well, when ACU needs an answer, I mean, you got Maddie Miller. I think that's a great answer to the test of finding some offense. And Maddie Miller, again, she's a player. She gets going. It's hard to stop her.
Langstaff is in the corner for ACU. A minute gone by in the second. Thornton lines one up. They credited Thornton with 19 in a game Tuesday night. we went to find out that it's actually a 17-point night for Thornton. They love to get her three-point shot going here tonight, but ACU crashing the glass.
And being tough with it too. There's one thing that even though your offense and maybe your defense is a little shaky, toughness cannot be.
Thornton, Martin, Langstaff, three of the newcomers for Abilene Christian. Both of these teams out here tonight very young as the Red Hawks take it away. And I would argue, and you're going to see it all the time, especially with the transfer portal, but the newcomers in this league this year are off the charts good. That is Walker burying one from the outside, the sophomore out of Washington. The amount of new faces in this league this season. Miller definitely not a new face, a veteran for Abilene Christian. Earl just a sophomore, one of the key returners for ACU this year as well. Just 4 returners for Abilene Christian this season. Martin, jumper, no good. Back and forth we go. Seattle U trying to bounce back after the loss at Tarleton. Texans will not be going to WAC Vegas next week. Our 12 teams for that tournament are lined up, and we have Howard driving in to tie it up.
And that's her first bucket of the game, and she had some really great quality looks before, but now she's able to sink her first one in.
That ends a 1 for 12 drought shooting for Howard over these last couple of games here in Texas. Have a jump ball. It will head the other direction. Julie Goodenuff looking on, 11th year head coach. Well over 200 career wins, recently hit that 500 win milestone, and she feels as good about her team as she has all season long. This team heads on a potential 3-game winning streak, as Carrie alluded to. Going into the WAC tournament next week, Seattle U has something to say about that. Redhawks will be in Vegas next week as well on a drive. It's Clark, and it is a charge taken by Martin. Offensive foul on Talia Clark.
The beauty of having Addison Martin here in her first year on the floor is that not only can she provide that type of energy on offense, but she's willing to do anything on defense. Her length, her size, being able to help out and stay vertical in the pick and roll, and just taking charges, doing the little things, adding to the charge wall for ACU basketball.
One of their social media trends. Zoe Jackson into the game, and her 3 is no good. And Bella Earl continues to be a rebounding monster for Abilene Christian. 23 rebounds in her last 2 games coming into tonight. That's already her 5th.
As a guard. That's something like you don't really hear, but I think it goes to Bella Earl's mentality is, hey, Coach Goodenuff, I'll do whatever you want me to do, whatever you need me to do. Hey, I can score 20. Hey, I can drop 10 assists. Hey, I can get 10 rebounds. I can get triple-double. But whatever Coach Goodenuff and this team needs me to do, Bella Earl will do it.
Miller drives in, and now it's Jackson with another look at a 3. And for Jackson on the season, just a 24% three-point shooter. For an ACU team that's one of the tops in the WAC at doing what they do from the outside. Abilene Christian 1 for 9 to start the night from downtown. Langstaff, that's off the glass, no good. The last time Langstaff played in this building, she scored 34 points. An Abilene Christian Division I program record. And she's fouled on the baseline. Foul on Clark. That'll be, no, they're gonna get Korolenko this time rather. First foul on Korolenko. If that would have been on Clark, would have been her 3rd foul. She's already on the bench with 2 of them. Earl, her 3, no good. Defense, defense, defense so
Sounding
far.
like the crowd,
My
man,
goodness.
for the away team.
Who needs points? You know, we saw that New Mexico State SFA game the other night, Tuesday. Something like 14-11 at halftime or whatever that game was. Very low scoring around the league. $10 for Korolenko. Oh, on a drive, got it. on the baseline, and Seattle U back in front.
And that's a tough layup because ACU does a really good job at helping the helper, but Seattle U just does a better job at attacking the paint and finishing strong.
Jackson on the move. That's off the glass. No. Batted around. Look at Martin tracking down the O board. Langstaff drives. No. Martin again. Miller's there for the three. It's no good, and there's a lid on the rim tonight for both sides. And a stoppage as Juliana Walker is slow to get up, and she'll head to the sideline. Substitutions.
And now for the Red Hawks is number 4, Esther Blumfeld.
You see Walker there hobbling off.
And for the Wildcats, number 33, Rachel Harjo.
Rachel Harjo into the game. Carrie Churchabo out there, 14 for the Red Hawks. Look at driving. Oh, Langstaff sends it away. Big time denial. And that's a foul. That'll send us to a timeout. We're looking for some offense. Maybe we'll find some in just a little bit. 28 total points, middle of the second. Back here in Abilene, Texas, here is what the bracket would look like next week, barring the outcome of tonight's games. Abilene Christian currently would sit as a 9 seed and play in the opening game against Sam Houston. You'd have Seattle U as an 11. Remember, it's based on resume seeding and the point numbers. They'd be in the 6-11 game against UT Arlington. This could shuffle as we go throughout the rest of the night.
It could, and again, for Coach Barcombe and for Coach Goodenough, you got to look at this bracket and you look at this game tonight and say, okay, what does Sam Houston do that Seattle U does, and what does UT Arlington do that ACU does, and try and get that into your scouting report, because again, you don't know necessarily who you're going to face. It's a bracket, even though and it's still time to shuffle things around, but you can kind of get a good sense with your opponent here tonight.
And again, barring the outcomes of all the games, that will be determined tomorrow for what the seed lines look like, as Zoe Jackson's no good on a 3. Abilene Christian, if they were to go down tonight, UTRGV may have a chance to jump ACU. Into the corner, Thornton's 3 no good. And so there is still some shuffling that could happen on this final night of the regular season.
You just want to keep your mind open. You don't want to finalize everything if you're a player for the Wildcats or for the Red Hawks, or if you're a coach, and just knowing that anything is possible. You just got to control what you can control.
Peyton Howard nearly got that one to drop, and she'll head to the line. Boy, you look at what Howard did last week in their homestand against Utah Tech and Utah Valley. Boy, Seattle U played well. Lost in OT to a good Utah Tech team. That's a really dangerous squad. And then they beat Utah Valley at home. And in those 2 games, Howard scored 16 in each game and was just really good. 12 out of 26 shooting, but just struggled Tuesday night at Tarleton and has struggled tonight so far.
And I think it also shows the potential. And granted, Peyton Howard is already one of the best scoring guards in the Western Athletic Conference, but the potential of how she can take off as one of the elite scorers in the WAC, maybe even college basketball as a whole.
Jackson no good, and then commits a foul at the 4:01 mark. Well, you get Seattle U, by the way. It's a 9-0 run for these Red Hawks. They are playing pretty well here in the middle of the second quarter.
Exactly, and they're complementing it well with their defense, and I think it's feeding their offense as well. ACU really hasn't done much differently defensively on their ball screen coverages and contesting shots, but ACU just got to get something going in this near 6-minute scoring drought.
Howard looks inside. Harjo denies. It's able to get into Moore somehow, and she's fouled. Maya Moore, the freshman out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And free throws are coming for the 6-foot freshman forward. A very young Seattle U team. 9 underclassmen for Coach Barcombe. And Moore connects on the first. Just a 59% free throw shooter this year. Hard to win with young teams sometimes in this good, deep WAC. Each night is just a battle, and you learn a lot as you go throughout the course of the season. going to be ups and downs at this level. Back to Moore, second chance, spinning. Off the glass, no good. ACU trying to break a 10-0 run. Miller trying to do so. She will not. Gets the rebound. Second look at it. Langstaff scoreless here tonight so far. And she's fouled, and she'll go to the line. This has been a bizarre first half.
Very odd. Very odd. And now Seattle U, you see here, swarming the paint, giving room for ACU. You got 4 perimeter shooters out there. Thornton, Jackson, Miller. He's got a lot of options there. So Malia Langstaff and all these Wildcats driving into the paint. Drive, let the defense collapse. They're over-helping. Kick it out to the shooters. You miss. Your coach good enough, you say, hey, we just need open shots right now. We need good quality shots. And one of them's got to fall eventually.
Langstaff just a 61% free throw shooter, but good on the first. What a newcomer addition she's been. 21 double-digit scoring games, a 1,200-point scorer in her career with 3 different schools, including Winthrop and Northeastern State. She hits both. Points are coming a little bit at the free throw line, 3-minute mark.
It looks like ACU's trying to create some more opportunities and stops with a little diamond full court press.
A lineup we don't see a lot with both ACU point guards on the floor, Jackson and Thornton. Into the paint, charge, offensive foul on Maya Moore, trying to get positioning inside. That's a turnover for Seattle U.
And it's an energy booster for ACU, and again, you need some momentum to translate that on the offensive end, translate that to some points, and these little things add up for ACU. And for Seattle U, you got to recognize that. You cannot let ACU break free and go on a run.
Abilene Christian has missed their last 14 attempts from the field. They're going on 7 minutes without a field goal. This is crazy. Thornton to try to break the streak, and continues, but she'll track it down with an offensive rebound. We have seen Ready 21 offensive rebounds in the first half. And nothing is falling. We've seen 33 total points.
And most of those rebounds are by guards.
Right.
And it's just such an odd and bizarre game. And you're getting quality looks from a very high-quality player. And Aspen Thornton, they're just not falling. But, I mean, just very, very odd.
Seattle U hasn't hit a field goal in the last 3 minutes. The last 7.5 for Abilene Christian. 10 on the timer. Thornton steps back. It's a 3. It's no good. Rebound pulled down by Liggett. A strange first half in Moody Coliseum. The drive, picking it up is Howard. 10 to go, step back, Liggett got it. We got a field goal, our first one in a while. Redhawks by 5.
This is a great shot by Liggett. I mean, again, just pulling up in the free throw line, attacking that little matchup zone for the Wildcats.
Langstaff on the move with a left hand. Her first points of the night, ends an 8-minute drought without a field goal for ACU. That is just the fourth and fifth points of the quarter for Abilene Christian. Mikkelsen back out there, 34 in the black jersey, and offensive foul. It's on Barido. Back to the Langstaff bucket.
Attacking her defender off the dribble in a one-on-one scenario. Malia Langstaff, that's what she does. And this new young Abilene Christian team for Coach Julie Goodenough, you have options who, in the half-court setting, nothing is going. You just give a ball to Langstaff or Thornton or Martin, and they're going to get you a bucket no matter who they're against.
Langstaff steps back. That 3 no good. 44 seconds to go. The score is correct. That's the crazy part. Looks like a typo. 15 on the shot clock. See if Howard can go to work again. Liggett hit a step back earlier. Oh, another contested one. No shot clock. Final 15 seconds. 22-17. Thornton kicks it. Jackson now Langstaff the three at the buzzer, no good. Abilene Christian's 1-10 when they trail at halftime this season. We have just 39 points, that's it. 22-17, halftime on ESPN's coming up.
Team is back home this weekend as they host Houston Christian at Crutcher Scott Field. Be sure to come out and support your Wildcats this Friday at 6:05. And for more information on this weekend series, be sure to visit ACUsports.com.
Hey, welcome back to Moody Coliseum here in Abilene, Texas. Seattle U leads ACU 22-17. And throughout this conference basketball season, both for men and women's ACU basketball, ACUTV has produced features for many of the players. And this one here, I got to speak with ACU future Hall of Famer Maddie Miller. Check it out right now.
Miller gonna take a shot from deep. It's good. Maddie Miller.
Well, Maddie, let's start with your career here at Abilene Christian, member of the 2019 NCAA Tournament Appearance Team, the 2020 Student Athlete Comeback Award winner, multiple Southland and Western Athletic Conference honors, and now you have recently became a member of the 1,000 Career Points Club in the purple and white. Maddie Miller, what have you not done?
You know, everybody says I've been here for a really long time, so I don't think there's much. You know, I've played with the championship, played with people whose faces that are on this wall, so I've played in every facility that we've had, Old Moody, Teague, and New Moody, so I wouldn't say that there's much that you could cover in that aspect.
So you decided to use your last year of eligibility this season to help lead this Abilene Christian team. You made your announcement official in public in a letter you wrote to the Big Country titled One Last Ride. This is the youngest team that you have ever been a part of here at ACU. How have you developed into a mentor and leader to your younger teammates?
You know, when I committed to come back here, we didn't have half of the team committed. We only had 7 people on the roster at the time, and so when I committed, I was not aware of all of the young faces that we were going to have, but honestly, I wouldn't change it for a thing. I think it kind of puts an exclamation point on everything that I've done here. I came and I was the younger player being mentored by the older people, some of the greatest players to ever play here, and now I get to be getting honors and being able to like share wisdom and share thoughts and like mentor some of the girls on this team, and I think that's just been really honestly a blessing and something that I didn't know I needed like going into my career. So I think having to step up into a leadership role and do more than I have in the past has definitely helped me for sure.
Let's talk about the relationship that you share with head coach Julie Goodenough. You all have made a lot of memories together on the court, and the way she speaks so highly of you over the years, it seems like that relationship extends off the court.
Yeah, I love Coach Goodenough. I think there's a lot of things that we're alike. Everybody used to call me Baby Julie because we're literally the same person, and I think we click so well because we both just want to win, like in everything, whether that be the first one to the staircase at the airport or be the first one to take the 3 in the game or be the first person to take a charge or be the first person in practice in the gym. We both just shared the competitive drive, and like it's really comforting, and it's helped our relationship grow knowing that I'm playing for somebody that wants to win and be as just successful as I do. And so she's given me a lot and a lot of opportunities, and I love being here, and I'm glad that she allowed me to stay. And so I just can't say enough good things about Coach Goodenough.
Well, Maddie, what I think is unique about you is just as active as you are on the basketball court, that same passion and drive applies off the court. For ACUTV, you have done work as a commentator and producer. What has experiential learning opportunities like ACUTV done for you as you picture what life will look like after collegiate basketball?
Oh yeah, ACUTV is probably one of the coolest departments on campus. I know I'm probably biased, but I think it really is one of the coolest departments. We have the ESPN studio that we have, and all the technology and opportunities that are given to students right when we hop on campus is just probably unlike any other institution anywhere. And so it's been really fun for me to like figure out what my passions are, what I'm good at. So it's just been a really amazing opportunity that ACUTV's given us to be able to showcase our talents.
Finally, Maddie, when it is all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be when your collegiate basketball here at Abilene Christian University is over?
I just want to be somebody that people remember as somebody who always worked hard and wanted to win every game, no matter what it took. If it meant that I had to score, if it meant that I had to help get the defensive stop, or if it meant I had to cheer from the sidelines as hard as I could. I just want to be somebody that always leads with love and passion and just have everybody see me and not just the basketball player.
Well, that was fun. Back here in Moody Coliseum, Seattle U leads ACU 22-17. When we get back from this break, Zach and I will talk about the first half, analyze it, and we'll start the second half after this break.
Low scoring first half. Seattle U in front by 5. Second half is moments away here at Moody Coliseum. Welcome courtside, everybody. Zach Carlisle and Joseph Chapa. Well, just a strange first half. 39 total points. The shooting not very good. Lots of turnovers. I guess you could say the defense is flexing their muscles so far.
They really are. They got some big guns out here, and the defense has to turn into offense for both of these teams. They're really trying to find something in the half court, but they're just not finding the answers to that big task.
I mean, the first half stats presented by First Bank Texas. The shooting, this is 5 for 32, 1 for 17. We've seen a combined 2 for 26 from a three-point line. I just don't envision this happening again in the second half.
It really shouldn't, and especially when you're a coach and you go into that halftime speech, it says, okay, guys, let's wake up a little bit. That was a little bit of a preseason game. Now this is, we're still in the regular season. We got WAC Vegas next week, and you look at the rebounding totals, and a lot of that comes from the offensive side for both of these teams, and really guards for both Seattle U and ACU. Just a really bizarre game. Let's see what happens here in the second half.
Can't wait to watch it happen. It's just the second ever meeting between Seattle U and ACU. For more on that, hi, Carrie.
Thanks, Zach. Ever since ACU moved to the WAC in 2022, they've faced a lot of new teams. One of the newest teams is Seattle U. The two teams first faced off in 2022 in Seattle, whenever Seattle U won 71-65. Now, Seattle U is returning the favor and playing in Moody Coliseum. So we'll see if the second half will result in a more offensively minded matchup. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, Carrie, thanks. It's been absolutely all defense, and the ball's just not finding the bottom of the net. It's just been really, really bizarre here in this first 20 minutes. Abilene Christian, as we mentioned, going to the halftime break. They're 1-10 when trailing at the half. To me, this feels like a teachable moment in the final regular season game before the tournament starts next
week. And what a time to do it. In these past two games, ACU has been on a really high mood, and the morale has been great here in the city of Abilene, but also for the team. You beat, arguably the best team in the conference in Southern Utah. You battle it out. You get that win at Sam Houston in Huntsville, Texas, and now you're facing a challenge. It's not your normal tune-up, you're just getting into your offense or defense. No, this is a challenge, and this is a great time for both of these teams to experience some pressure and translate that to the WAC Vegas tournament.
Seattle U has it to start the third quarter. Glad you're with us tonight on ESPN Plus. Zach Carlisle, Joseph Chapa, Gary Johnston, and the gang. Our final broadcast of this basketball season. The ball's tapped out of away. It'll stay here. 5 on the timer. It's Peyton Howard. She's blocked. Oh, got it back. Wait a second. Jump ball. It's a jump ball, and the arrow goes to Abilene Christian. The early turnover. Meanwhile, Abilene Christian, Joseph, their second lowest point total in a half this year. 16 was the number they scored back in November in a game played against Louisiana, the Thanksgiving tournament in Denton, Texas. Off the ball, it's a foul. And it's on Moore inside. Number 43 going to be called for her third personal foul. So she will leave the game, and into the game goes Kari Churchabo. Big minutes for the sophomore out of Norway, the UC Riverside transfer. It's Earl, it's a three. We haven't seen a lot of them. It's a three for ACU Earl from downtown.
And that's the type of player that Bella Earl is, and now that ACU needs their veteran players to get back into rhythm and lead this young team to scoring.
Little one-hander, no good from Churchabo. Loose, here comes Abilene Christian. Langstaff, 4 points in the opening half. Just 1 for 6 shooting, however. Here she goes, off the window, couldn't get the roll. Churchabo clears. Seattle U 33% shooting from the floor tonight, 8 for 24. Off the screen, that long two, no good for Clark. And meanwhile, Earl, rebound number 6. Earl hit one earlier. Second look, no good.
Now the pace, I think, for both of these teams, long rebounds and open shots aren't falling. Push the pace a little bit. See what the transition game is going to be like between these two teams.
On the drive is Howard. Oh, it's too high. Through the hands of Clark. 12th Red Hawk turnover tonight. Blauenfeld checks in for Seattle U. Here's the turnover.
And a good idea here off of a hammer action, driving the baseline and kicking it out to that opposite weak side corner three. But just these little things, Zach, I mean, they're just not going well for either team. It's just the energy, the attitude, is really, really low.
Miller feeds Martin. Nice finish inside, and we got a tie game. ACU the first 5 of the third.
Yeah, when you need something going, Maddie Miller, not only can she score it, but she can also dish it. She's an all-around player, and now ACU is going to need more of Maddie Miller here in her last game in Moody Coliseum.
Howard was held. Fouls on Thornton for ACU, her second. So we approach 3 minutes into the third. The Redhawks off of that loss at Tarleton, trying to bounce back before the tournament next Monday in Vegas. That's offline, no good. Miller rebounds. Well, you figured they would love to get Miller going, her final career home game. Talked to Miller before the game. It's a foul off the ball here. Talked to Miller before the game. She said just nerves and a little sadness, you know, kind of that bittersweet feeling to where she wants to win the game and have a great week next week, but definitely a tough night playing in your final home game.
And you want those emotions to translate here on the hardwood. All the, you know, the sadness, but again, protecting your pride, playing with pride. You want to translate that here. 5 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, 1 of 5 from the field for Miller. And hey, but great players like her shine bright late in the game, and maybe right here too.
And she buries one from the outside, right on cue. Miller leads away with 8. Abilene Christian scored the first 8 here of this third period.
You can see ACU's Tristan Keller bench surfing right after that 3, so the energy is being lifted here in Moody Coliseum.
Howard, it rolls home, first points of the period for Seattle U. Nice response, Peyton Howard.
They're going to need that every single possession, winning the position battle. Maddie Miller, Aspen Thornton. ACU's going to have theirs. Can Howard answer on a consistent basis?
Earl, no. Tapped around. Here comes Leggett. 4 minutes gone by in this third. ACU off to an 8-2 start in the third. Blauenfeld going to take it. She got it. 5 quick ones for Seattle U to answer.
Just finding these key players for Seattle U, and And again, this is a very young Seattle U team for Coach Susie Barcombe, and you just kind of think, again, you're staying in the present moment, but you're seeing the potential of the Red Hawks for the next few seasons.
Jump ball. Seattle U in front by 2. The latest points for Abilene Christian was this Miller 3.
Just great baseline out of bounds play. Maddie Miller does her thing.
Worked out pretty well.
Just like we've always seen these past 5 years here in Moody and Teague, and with Maddie Miller in the purple and white.
Howard on the move. Boy, Peyton Howard just looks a lot more confident right now after getting a few shots to fall.
Yeah, that's what you need as a scorer. It starts with the mind. I mean, again, it's not a mechanical issue. It's a confidence issue. She's finding it.
Martin, how did that go in? Falling away.
The fall away skyhook jumper. It's like you're playing horse. It's like you're trying to get your friend out, and with a difficult shot like that, I mean, I can't remake that.
Call that an excuse me basket. That skips into the quarter for Korolenko. Tied up at 27. A lot more fun here in this third quarter. 15 combined points. It is Liggett for 3. No. Miller taps it to herself. Will Miller try to go? And a travel on Earl. Take us to a timeout. We got an even one in the middle of the third. A fun, low-scoring night on the final night of the regular season. We're deadlocked at 27 in the third quarter, midway through it. Let's talk resume seeding on this final day of the season and send it to Carrie.
Already talked about the importance of this game in terms of tournament positioning, but every single game this season has impacted the WAC tournament seeding. All games going back to non-conference play will contribute to where each team will sit in the conference tournament. If the season ended today, Seattle U would earn the 12th seed in the tournament despite being the 11th seed in the standings. Meanwhile, ACU is the 7th seed in the standings, but currently sitting at the 9th seed for the tournament. But at the end of the day, a win for either team tonight could help them get better seeding in Vegas, as you guys already talked about. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Carrie. And this is Howard for a 3, no good. Yeah, so it'll change, and it changes daily based on the ways your opponents have done throughout the course of the year as well. It takes into account the way you've played, what types of wins you have, what types of losses you have, and how those teams do throughout the course of a season as well. 27 all. 10 on the timer. It's Earl. She has a 3 in this third. Miller has one as well. She's got another.
You can see the stare down over here for the crowd and just getting into that, what we call that Mamba mentality. Maddie Miller, yeah, she's got it.
Seattle U's responded pretty well, though, with key baskets themselves. Driving in, no good. Churchabo gets the offensive rebound. Scoring drought in 2.5 minutes here for the Red Hawks. Howard trying to fix that and feeds it in, and one-hander no good for Mikkelsen. Second chance, no good as well. Missed opportunity there. Feels like a chance at momentum here for Abilene Christian, doesn't it? Miller, step back, no. Lauenfeld lost it in transition. Miller's all by herself. She's still all by herself. No good.
And I like the initial idea of Maddie Miller giving up that wide open 3 for a cutting Bella Earl. Even though Earl wasn't able to get the layup off, you can see the maturity and the leadership that Miller shows, even though she knows this is her game and she's an excellent marksman shooter out from deep. Is Bella Earl, it's a percentage game.
Foul at this end. I think it's on Aspen Thornton of Abilene Christian, and that is the case with 2:05 to go in the third. Subs for both sides. Jackson and Harjo for ACU. And it's Clark and Moore back in the starters for the Red Hawks. 18 total points in the third. Still not a whole lot in terms of offense tonight. Howard fakes, takes. That would have tied it. Miller hits the rebound.
That was an excellent ball fake right there by Peyton Howard, and just getting these open shots to fall if you're the Redhawks.
Harjo, mid-range. First shot attempt for Rachel Harjo tonight. Sophomore transfer from Central Florida. 100 seconds in the third of one of the lower scoring games of the season in the WAC. Clark traveled. Boy, we've seen a ton of travels and turnovers tonight.
I got that travel counter on.
You got it going.
I got it going, man. And again, whenever I play pickup at the rec and with my boys, I travel a lot. I try to do like that James Harden, Euro stuff. But here it's just so odd. But again, low score, one of the low scoring games of the season. But again, just the energy's kind of low. But you're predicting that they're saving it for next week in the tournament.
It does. It feels like there's just not a lot of energy for either side tonight. Trying to get something going. 8 on the timer. It's past the outstretched arms of Langstaff and a takeaway.
And I think when they're trying to get something going, they're doing too much with the basketball. Just move it around. Maddie Miller, Bella Earl's got some open looks. Just look for them out in the perimeter.
Seattle U has had a scoring drought of approaching 5 minutes here in the third. Looking to end that. Korolenko, no good. And the rebound. Can Jackson go? Earl, open. That's a big one.
Just an outstanding shot right there by Bella Earl. But I think what's way more impressive than that three, and her 2 threes already this game, is 7 rebounds as a guard. Just impeccable. One of the best rebounders in the WAC as a guard. And just phenomenal what she's able to do all around for the Wildcats.
Largest lead for either side tonight. Right now it's 6. On a drive, Howard, no. Out of bounds, Seattle U keeps it 7 to shoot it, and 8 in the quarter. The Redhawks have not scored in over 5.5 minutes. And it's tapped away. Jackson with 3 seconds, trying to beat the timer. 1, she got it off, it's no good. And that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Abilene Christian with their largest lead. And we go to the fourth. It's WAC Hoops on ESPN. Back after these messages.
Is exceptional. I think it's what really sets it apart from other universities and other organizations just on ACU's campus.
Working at ACUTV, I have gotten so much great experience in all different aspects, whether that was just taking on leadership roles or just learning new things and really just jumping in and being hands-on with equipment.
So the first time I walked in here, I was a high school senior, but I walked in and I was blown away by the production and the level of production ACU was putting on. And so to see the amount of effort being poured into a sporting event at ACU on ESPN was huge. And so to see that as a high school senior sold it for me. I was like, yes, I'm gonna be at ACU because this is where I wanna be, this is where I can excel.
Coming to college and to know that you're making content for ESPN, that's unreal for students to come in and be able to get hands-on experience that quickly. It's a blessing.
I would have never thought that I would be doing the things I'm doing now. If you said I was going to be on ESPN Plus and working with professional reporters and seeing all the stuff that goes into that, I would have called you crazy because I didn't think that freshmen got that opportunity. But here at ACU, everyone gets that opportunity, and it's awesome. And I think that's what sets us apart from other universities. At a young age, we allow people to get that experience, and you only get better from there.
Really not a lot of students across the world get to be able to do what we do here at ACU. If you want to be a journalism major, you want to be in sports broadcasting, this is the place for you. But you get the tools of what it's going to be like. You know, you want to work in Fox Sports, ESPN, those major networks one day. This is where you translate it. This is where you get that exact same experience. This is first class.
Start of the fourth quarter coming up. Abilene Christian in front 33-27. over Seattle U. We get ready for quarter number 4. Zach Carlisle, Joseph Choppa, Gary Johnston, and a gang. It's WAC Hoops on ESPN. Final day of the regular season. Abilene Christian, a big surge, 16-5, outscoring Seattle U in that third period.
And again, it's been a tale of two halves, and we talked about this at the start of the second half, is that it's a teachable moment for ACU, really both of these teams, but for ACU especially, coming off of, you're knocking off Southern Utah, arguably the best team in the conference, battling out against Sam Houston, and now you're facing a big challenge here against Seattle U.
Harjo, no good. First possession of the fourth for Abilene Christian, and then a foul. As we take a look and remind you, the 2023 Hercules Tires WAC Basketball Tournament takes place March 6th through the 11th next week at the Michelob Ultra Arena at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. For more information on the road to WAC Vegas, visit WACsports.com. Moments away from one of the best weeks in all of sports.
I think of conference tournaments, I think of March Madness, and then me personally, man, I think of South Padre Island. I mean, I just think of all of those things combined. I mean, it's just a great time.
Langstaff transition look. Abilene Christian has blossomed out to their largest lead of 8 points. And in a game like this, that's like a 25-point lead.
And it's been a game of just unexpected outcomes and just unexpected statistics and just things going on in this game. If ACU can go on a run here early, it'll shock the Red Hawks.
Howard feeds it, and that's more. No good. Was it tipped? No, it's out of bounds to ACU. And we have a timeout on the floor. Take one with them. ACU, largest lead of 8, early fourth. One minute gone by in this fourth quarter. 35-27 ACU. Let's talk a little Wildcats and football with Cade Parmalee, who's undergoing the toughest part of his life right now.
Yeah, Zach, there were some very devastated hearts when news broke a few weeks ago that Cade Parmalee, former ACU letterman, and again, the Duke transfer playing at football there, was diagnosed with leukemia. And again, he's just not just your normal former ACU football player, but he's a hometown hero, born and raised in Abilene, Texas, went to Wiley High School. I mean, had all the accolades for football, for academics, for everything he did in the community, and now it's our turn. I just want to applaud ACU Athletics, ACU Student Life, and just everyone here in the Abilene community for just galvanizing around his cause. And again, for those of you watching at home, just go to his GoFundMe page, go to galaxycharitable.com to donate and help the fight, and just praying for divine healing and for him and his family.
Cade, one of the greats. We're praying for you and rooting for you as you go through this process. Meanwhile, a travel here. A walk on Moore. Maya Moore's had a tough night. Foul trouble, low minutes, turnover. She'll leave the game. Meanwhile, ACU trying to pull away.
I just got a notification, Zach. It's already 8 travels on my notification counter.
You go.
It's like my Santa tracker, you know, in Christmas. And again, not that I use it anymore. But
oh, off the window. That's smooth. Addison Martin. A 10-point lead for Abilene Christian.
That's just the dynamic that ACU can play with now offensively. You can go inside and out. You don't got to be like the Golden State Warriors. Now, granted, they are a balanced team, but you don't got to rely on the threes all day. You have Addison Martin to punch in the ball down low.
We were talking about this a little bit before the game. Now, obviously, this has been just such an uncharacteristically low-scoring game for both sides. You don't expect that next week, but with the way that this ACU team has been playing, they're going to have 3 wins here, potentially a chance at going into the tournament. Howard, no good. Makes Abilene Christian pretty dangerous next week.
It really does. And those are potentially three tough wins. Not give me wins and you wake up and you see a W on your schedule. No, these are hard fought. We're seeing it now, low scoring.
Into the paint, no good. That reverse side for Korolenko. Seattle U did not score in the final 5.5 minutes of the third. Have yet to score in the fourth. Langstaff has scored, leads a dozen. Seven-minute mark coming up. Final night of the regular season. The tournament bracket will be finalized tomorrow. WAC Vegas starts Monday at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. That 3, a big one. Blauenfeld stops the bleeding for the Red Hawks.
And has blossomed to being the leading scorer for her Red Hawks team. They need more of those threes, finding those good shots out on the perimeter.
Off the hand of Jackson. Do the Red Hawks have maybe one more run in them to get back into this thing? 6.5 in the fourth, down 9. Howard left, got it, 5 in a row. Timeout, Julie Goodenough and Abilene Christian. Seattle U back to 7. An interesting final 6:19 coming your way on the final day of the regular season. Middle of this fourth quarter after the timeout for Abilene Christian. It's ACU by 7, trying to close it out on the final night of the regular season for the tournament next week. Little 5-0 burst for Seattle U. Addie Martin inside for the Wildcats, turning and scoring to go back up 9.
Just a steady diet of that low post entry to Addison Martin. Going up against that single coverage, ACU finding the answers, using their key players.
Both teams below 30% shooting for the game. We have a foul at this end. There's the studio, there they are. One final time on the year for our friends at ACUTV putting this thing together. By the way, let's talk ACUTV a little bit with the 2 on the broadcast crew that are working for ACUTV. Carrie, take it away.
Thanks, Zach. ACU prides itself on experiential learning, and one of the biggest examples is here at ACU TV. Over 70 students are employed to help create what the audience sees on their screens, from running cameras, operating the control room, to being on-air talent like me and Joseph today. We are led by our incredible director, Hutton Harris, and students like us are grateful for the opportunities we get from ACU TV every single day. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Carrie. And Joseph, I know you echo those sentiments.
Zach, yeah, I just want to second that. I mean, you know, ACU TV is second to none. First of all, I mean, you know, God is good. It's a huge blessing to do what we do. And I think something that goes unnoticed is the belief that ACU has in us and ACU Athletics. You, my friend Zach, and teaching us and mentoring us. I mean, you know, sitting down there in the control room and coming up with the graphics and stories, you're an excellent teacher, and I want you to know that, as well as the coaches and Hutton Harris and Ernesto Wajadro, everyone in the crew just believed in us. So just a great, phenomenal basketball season. We got 5 minutes left, so let's finish strong, right?
It's going to be fun with Seattle U inside. Churchabo to make it a 5-point game as we're under 5 in the fourth. Don't go away on this low-scoring regular season finale. Martin mid-range, no good. Red Hawks will have a chance, shooting at 32%. Off the screen, oh, nice pick, 2-man game. Churchabo back-to-back buckets. 3-point difference.
It's like John Stockton and Karl Malone. A pick and roll in the side on top of the key, and just an unstoppable play in the game of basketball.
Julie Goodenough calling timeout yet again with 4:13 to play in this fourth quarter. Back to the basket there for Churchabo.
Just dissecting the ACU defense. ACU, you can catch some ball watching a few possessions, and these things add up. 4:13 left, and ACU's got to get a few stops, string that in with some runs. You don't want stagnant from your runs here, but take a look at the bracket, right, Zach?
Yeah, well, right now, Abilene Christian a 9 seed. They would play the opening game of the tournament against the 8 seed Sam Houston. But again, this could move lines depending on what happens tonight of the final night of the season. As it stands, Seattle U would be the 11, fairly locked in, it feels like, to that 6-11 game. But if ACU were to lose tonight, there's a chance they could maybe drop to the 10, which would mean they'd be in that 7-10 matchup Monday night at 8 o'clock Central Time. So it all depends on what happens in the final day tonight.
It's only March 2nd, but we're already starting to experience a little March Madness here in the WAC tournament, seedings, and it's going to be fun to watch. I think I might stay up with popcorn, candy, maybe some Pepsi, and just see what the bracket's officially going to look like.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for next week as well. It's going to be so much fun there in Las Vegas. Maddie Miller back into the game. She's waiting for her teammates to come pick her up, and she's fouled going to the line. Just feels like they got Miller a breather a little bit, and now they had to pull her back into the game with it being a 3-point game.
Yeah, and I think if you're ACU and you try and go on a run here, and you know, you see all these legends in professional basketball and take all the shots in the end and trying to get that crowd roaring and get that memories out there. I think you can do the same thing here for Maddie Miller. So go on a run. Yes, you still want to win this basketball game, and then, you know, you have the time. Let Maddie Miller shine, and one last moment, one last ride, as she wrote to the big country back in June for her last year to lead this Abilene Christian team, and now she's going to her last conference tournament. Let's see what her and the Wildcats can do.
Trying to finish off. Abilene Christian's 10-3 in their brand new Moody Coliseum this season. Trying to get win number 11 at home. The skip pass is too high for Howard. Coming from Liggett. That's a key turnover for Seattle U right there.
Yeah, you know, I want to pivot back to what we were saying about Maddie Miller. I think, you know, phenomenal player, and we're going to start to see it now as she gets shots. But I think she just embodies the student athlete, just being involved academically, being involved, getting her master's degree, her MBA. I mean, just everything. You know, I think, you know, as fans and commentators, we forget that these are student athletes, but I mean, just phenomenal career for Maddie Miller here in the purple and white.
Travel on Malia Langstaff. That ticker gets another one to its total tonight.
I got another notification. It's 9, so we're almost at 10.
9 traveling violations. Strange night. That's really just what it's been from the jump. The opening tip went out of bounds. I mean, it's just been weird ever since. Langstaff, that would have been the 3 of the night for Abilene Christian as we approach 3 minutes coming up. Seattle U down 5. Howard trying to go. She's got 10 points on 4 for 15 shooting. Under 3. Tough one-hander, no good. Tapped around, and it goes back out to Howard. Korolenko getting in on the floor. A fresh 20 for the Red Hawks.
You got to capitalize on these second chance opportunities.
Howard, no, it went off the back iron. Oh, and then Miller lost it, but she's fouled. Fouled by Blauenfeld first. There it is, tapped away, and here is the bump.
Yeah, right there, the full court setting. I think Seattle U really all game long, but especially here in this late stretch of the second half, is they've really just fallen in love with that baseline drive and the length that ACU provides with Addie Martin, Malia Langstaff, even Bella Earl when she gets down there in the post. They just got to get something different. Now, down 5, just create something.
Langstaff, long 2. Offline, approaching 2 minutes to go. Big possession here for the Red Hawks. They've made 5 of their last 7 shots, have Seattle U. More back out there, 43. 8 on the clock. Howard goes, got it off the glass. 3-point game.
And when Peyton Howard needs to be confident, it's now. When your team's down 3, you know, for the Red Hawks, you know what she can bring, and she's going to bring it right now with the minute 30 left.
Biggest possession of the night. Abilene Christian up 3. Miller, step back. What a moment! In her final game, hits what could be a dagger 3. The spin, Howard feeds. Korolenko no good. Out of bounds to Abilene Christian. The 3 of the night from 31.
Just letting Maddie Miller and the Moody Coliseum crowd just savor in that moment. This is Maddie Miller, ACU, future Hall of Famer, ACU legend, and she's showing you why here.
Langstaff lost it. Now will bounce it off of herself. This ball's loose. Seattle U throws it away with 55 seconds. Their 20th turnover is a big one. Oh, they had it right here and too wide.
Yeah, and you know, also we talk about this team, the Seattle U team, being so young, and part of that is just learning each other, building that chemistry, knowing the playbook, knowing the system, knowing that, hey, I could be looking this way towards the baseline, and I know you're going to be right there besides me in that corner, and I can do a no-look pass. So these costly mistakes for Seattle U are adding up here when they don't need it to here, most. But for ACU, 55.2 seconds left. You're up 6, up 2 possessions. Just again, just finishing out strong. Get ready for WAC Vegas. Both of these teams, you learn a lot here. Low-scoring game, defensive battle. Getting Addison Martin going, Malia Langstaff going in the second half, but you got to close out strong.
55 seconds. Abilene Christian with it, up 6. Thornton's in the backcourt now, but was fouled. Took her back to that foul line. Blauen felt charged with a foul. It is just the 3rd team foul for Seattle U in the quarter, so they're not anywhere near putting ACU at the line. They're going to do it again. They'll lob it to Earl first, and she's hacked. Wow. A lot of contact there with Liggett. That's the 4th team foul on the Redhawks. Watch this.
And it's a beautiful play design, too, trying to get a lob opportunity going, but that's a hard fall right there.
Ugh. The back of the head, you never want to see that. Langstaff opened at first. She'll wait to get fouled, and that's what happened. 47 seconds. That's the 5th foul, so that'll put Langstaff at the line. Free throws for Langstaff. Just a 61% shooter for the year. Trying to put this game away with 47 seconds. No good. Not done just yet. Well, that's no good as well, and they got the timeout. Seattle U did. Those are 2 big misses. It stays a 2-possession game here with 46 seconds.
It's huge for Seattle U because, you know, you're probably anticipating Malia Langstaff or whoever you foul to make those free throws. Then you got to come up with plays, whether you're down 7 or 8. But now you stay down at 6. So, again, get your threes, get into that pin down series where you can get someone like Peyton Howard or Juliana Walker off of a pin down screen in the corner, get a quick 3, and then make or miss. Just get ready to trap, full court press. Get the Wildcats frustrated. If you got to result to a foul, then you get into the foul game.
Abilene Christian tonight, 8 for 10. Those were the first 2 misses at the line tonight. Was Langstaff right there on that last possession. So now Seattle U, a quick basket is what they are looking for here. Down 6. 46-40. Who would have thought? Korolenko, step back. Oh, she banked in a 3. Are you kidding? Of all things to go in on this night, a bank 3 to make it a 3-point difference with 39 seconds.
Just adds to the weirdness and the bizarreness of this game. But what a game she's been having. I mean, calling a bank on a Thursday night. Hello, there we go. Down 3, Seattle U.
She did what? Just crazy. This game has just been, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone.
Yeah.
It's just been bizarre tonight.
Like, pinch me, I'm dreaming. And then now you're sending, of all people, Maddie Miller.
Right.
Free throw line.
5th-year vet. They jokingly called it Maddie Coliseum tonight instead of Moody Coliseum. 40 seconds, her coach looks on. Maddie told us, you know, I got made fun of a little bit as a freshman because I was called Julie Jr.
Yeah, baby Julie as well.
So much like Coach Goodaduff. Those two personalities have just gotten along so much since Maddie got here in the summer of 2018. 2 big free throws for Miller to go back up 5, and boy, has she enjoyed quite the success in her time with Abilene Christian. A championship in 2019, a 20-win campaign going into the COVID year tournament that never ended up happening. They transitioned to the WAC, and now they'll go into her final tournament next week, trying to get a game over 500 and trying to get back to 9-9 in WAC play.
Yeah, and she's doing it all while being a leader on and off the floor for her younger teammates, but also averaging a career high in points and rebounds, assists, efficiency, both at the charity stripe on the field. I mean, just what a time to do it all. What a time to just, you know, her season is a thank you letter, a love letter to the big country.
Korolenko, that 3, deep that time. Big miss, and it's Martin with a rebound. Jump ball. The jump ball with 32.9, and the arrow stays with Seattle. Question is, jump ball or a foul? They're going to call a jump. Let's see. Well,
certainly bobbled.
Did Churchabo get that hand in there? Is that what they're calling?
And I also find it interesting that I feel like that final whistle was blown at 33.1, but
Howard into the paint, left hand, scoop, no. It would have been a chance at a 3-point play. It will be free throws coming up for Seattle U. That 2-man game, free throws here for Churchabo.
And you would think, you know, for Seattle U, I mean, they couldn't really find anything in the half court all game long, but they revert to just a simple, you know, guard to big pick and roll on the side, and it's been wide open. The roll man here at the free throw line, what could have been an and one opportunity for the Red Hawks.
That's a big miss.
Yeah.
A chance to cut it to 3. Instead, it stays 5. Churchabo at the line for her second. 65% at the line. She missed both of them. Rebound tapped around. It is out of bounds to ACU with 22 seconds. Oh, gigantic misses at the line for the Red Hawks.
Big rebound right there. It's an attempt to the rebound, but get ready to go back to the free throw line.
Miller is trapped, lost it. It is Seattle ball with 18 seconds. Miller was anticipating that foul, never got it. And just out of bounds off of 31. We'll see if they review it. I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna see who it's off of out of bounds. I think that's what they're gonna look at. We'll see. Who's it out of? Who touches it last?
She gets it here. She has full possession of it.
Miller, that's off of Miller, right? I mean,
it looks like it from that angle, unless in a different angle it shows maybe as the ball was going downward, maybe it hit Hayden Howard going down, but didn't really look like that on that angle, but we'll see what the referees decide here.
I imagine this will be a fairly quick review to confirm or to keep the call on the floor. The call on the floor is Seattle U ball. You have to have enough to change that, as we're always told.
Yeah.
Evidence to overturn, whatever the language is. Miller has it. There, yeah, off. Look, yeah, look at this. That right hand, that looks like it's off Miller.
Yeah, I mean, the only opponent near her would be Peyton Howard, but from those two angles that we saw here, done great job by our ACUTV replay crew, was it didn't look like it touched Peyton Howard, therefore it's out of Maddie Miller.
17 seconds, and so if that's the case, Seattle U would keep it and have a chance to cut back into the 5-point lead. So the call on the floor, Seattle ball. They have to have enough to change it. And then again, they have to make sure the clock is correct and all of that. So there is a few things to look at, but the crew will get together, make the decision on this final night of the regular season. It will stay with Seattle. 18.2 is the official clock as well. So the Redhawks have it. They need a basket, and they need it quickly.
Yeah. I mean, just off of a baseline out of bounds play, get one of your perimeter shooters open like now.
Korolenko going, 15, lost it! Thornton took it away on the biggest defensive possession of the night for Abilene Christian as they try to walk out of here winners.
In what was a game where Aspen Thornton couldn't really get anything going offensively, well, great players like Thornton revert to defense, and you hit it on the nail, Zach. That's probably the defensive play or the play of the game for ACU. I don't know, competing with that Maddie Miller 3, but you got the job done there.
How fitting is it that this game might end on a defensive play? It almost had to.
Yeah.
It's 48 to 43.
It's all been about defense, and I think both of these teams learned that, you know, again, things can change going into next week with the seedings, but they can get a taste of what defensive coverages can look like and the physicality of between the two opponents.
Final timeout for Seattle U with 12.8. The 49-43 ball game. Just incredible. If this thing holds, Abilene Christian, 3-game winning streak heading into next week. That's got to feel good for this program to build a winning streak at the most important time of the year.
Yeah, and you look at those wins, Southern Utah, you know, number one of the best teams in the conference, Sam Houston, someone you do not want to mess with. And then Seattle U, yes, even though they're at the bottom of the standings, but a young team, but they got some slashers they can defend, and they neutralize ACU's high scoring and, you know, riveting run and gun offense. And, you know, these challenges for ACU heading into the WAC tournament, they're going to add up. You know, when you're headed to the tournament, when you look at the scouting reports at, you know, your first game on Monday, you're going to look at these things and say, okay, now we know who we are here March the 6th. Now let's go out and execute.
And Abilene Christian may see Sam Houston right away.
Yeah.
Again next Monday. They just played them Tuesday, so you never know. Twice in a 3-game stretch. It'd be meeting number 3, and they split with the Bearcats this season. Seattle U right now in line to play UT Arlington. And they did lose at home to the Mavericks earlier this season. Quick 3, no good. 8 seconds, rebound, Churchabo. Time running out, Howard blocked away. Langstaff has it, the time runs out. Abilene Christian is back over 500. They close out Moody Coliseum in the regular season with a win over Seattle U. And in Maddie Miller's final home game, Abilene Christian is winners. How big is this win for ACU?
I mean, it's huge. We talked about it, the 3-game win streak. You're going to WAC Vegas, hard-fought, hard-earned victories, challenge in a lot of ways. Tonight it was defense, and against Sam Houston and Southern Utah, it was just staying intact offensively and getting your star and core players involved. And I mean, ACU, they had to get it done for their friend, for their teammate, Maddie Miller, in her last game here in Moody Coliseum. And just an excellent win for ACU.
We'll get the words from her in particular, but it's you love to think about what this night had to have meant to Maddie Miller.
Yeah, I mean, it means the world. And, you know, showing her the ACUTV feature that we did, just, you know, being emotional before the game and just savoring in and just being grateful. I think that's what we can say about Maddie Miller here tonight, is that she's just grateful for her career, grateful for this season, grateful for Julie Goodenough, and just grateful for everything that's gone on in her career. She makes her way to the table, and she'll be interviewed by you, Zach, and will be the final home interview for Maddie Miller between you two. So
low scoring finish, 49 to 43. Maddie Miller comes on over as our player of the game after An 18-point performance for Miller as our player of the game. Well, Maddie, congratulations. First of all, you told us before the game, hey, I don't want to come over here mad about a loss. We have to win the game. How'd you guys do that tonight?
You know, I think we came out a little flat in the first half. We were playing really good defense, but offensively we just weren't clicking. But we stayed the course, and we kept talking to each other, kept trying to find open shooters. And I think the biggest thing, we just instilled confidence in each other, not telling each other that we were going to knock the next shot down. And I think the energy was just flowing offensively. And I mean, it showed on the scoreboard at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was a weird game. It felt like, really, for the most part, neither team was making any shots. There was points were hard to come by. So in a game like that, how important does each possession feel? How much pressure is on each possession to feel like we got to score here?
I think that there's a lot. I think that there's a lot of pressure, but I think it's also about having poise in those moments. And I think there was never a doubt in anybody on our team's mind that we ever lost control of the game. Like, I think everybody was sound-minded and trying to do the best we could to help each other and just stay in at each possession and not think too far ahead or keep thinking about what happened last possession.
How about the point in the game where it's a three-point game, you have it over there on the right wing, and you're able to step back and hit a big three? Take us through that moment.
Yeah, well, we were running the play for me to drive baseline, and I had gotten it every single time we'd run it that time, but she jumped baseline, and she kind of fell back a little bit because I ran into her, and I just saw space and saw the rim and let it fly and felt real good, and it went in. So that was a big bucket for us. But, I mean, every free throw down the stretch was really important.
Congratulations, Maddie.
Thank you,
Well
Zach.
done.
Thank you.
Maddie Miller,
Thank you.
as Abilene Christian beats Seattle U on the final night of the regular season, 49-43 the final. This has been a presentation of the Western Athletic Conference on ESPN. Zach Carlisle, Joseph Chapa, and the gang. Thanks so long. Take care. Good night from Abilene, Texas.